Hello and welcome to Behind the Scenes at MXVII Candle Co. So I am reporting to you from my basement, aka the candle workshop. You've probably seen bits and pieces of this from my Instagram or my Facebook, but this is kind of the whole process at once. So we start over here. These are my fragrance oils. So the top row is my signature line. So these are the scents that I offer all year round. This row is kind of a crazy row. So spring and summer aren't huge times of the year for candles, so I don't offer a bunch of scents for those seasons. So this is actually my spring samples. This was summer. These are for Mother's Day. This is for Valentine's Day. There's a couple others, but they're not currently there. This is a secret scent that I will be offering for something in the future probably, but I just got my hands on it to test it, so have that working. And then this row is kind of a bunch of special scents for special things. So a couple of these are for you'll see them around Christmas time. And the other one is for actually a really big, very special candle. Oh, that's awful. That is coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. So then I take you to this row, which is my fall scents. And then the bottom row is my winter scents. And then the very bottom is a bunch of samples that I get every time I order new fragrance oil. I'll just grab a couple samples. So with the scents that I like, I will sometimes use those for custom scents if people request custom scents, or I will often use them as little giveaway candles for candle parties, which I do fairly often, but am not doing currently because of COVID stuff. So that's what those are usually used for. And then this is my big box of wax. That's a garbage can. And then we come over here to my melting and pouring station. So I have a hot plate to keep my jars warm while I'm wicking them and then pouring. The jars being warm prevents the wax from expanding and contracting too much while it's cooling, which if it does that too much, it will create like sinkholes and other imperfections. So that helps me avoid a lot of that. That is my melting pot. So I have a lot of wax in there and melt it from there. And then in my little melting station here, in this drawer, I have kind of my Post-its and wick stickers and warning labels. And then in this drawer, I have all my wick tabs and these clothespins for small wick tabs. So that's how I keep my wicks straight and tight in the jars while the wax is cooling. This situation here is all my wicks. I probably have like 30 bags of wicks, and that's probably nowhere near enough. Every jar you use, every different fragrance oil you use, you have to test the wick. You might end up having to use a different wick for different fragrances, even if it's the same jar. So that's why I have all of those. Keep my paper towels down there. A thing about being a candle maker is you use an excessive amount of paper towels and rubbing alcohol constantly. It is the only thing that cleans out wax and oil. You're working with wax and oil, which are both kind of slimy. So it's the only thing that cleans out everything really nicely. So I go through that like unbelievably fast. So there's that. And then in here, I have rubbing alcohol, of course. And then my scale, my thermometer, my jars for measuring fragrance oil, and then a couple different pouring pitchers. You'll also get a glimpse of my shoe attire. Anytime I'm pouring candles, that's most likely what I'm wearing on my feet, which is always obnoxious. So then we got the oil. We then come here, pour, mix. Then we come here and pour. So I have many trays like this that have tin foil in them. So it helps the candles cool slower so that there are less imperfections. So it looks insane, but it really helps. So that is how I always do that. And then I have like all of my packing supplies and stuff under the table, which is not cute, but it works. And then over here is more supplies. So I have all of my jars over here, all of my lids over here, testing jars, seasonal jars, my wax cups for the little melter shots, pretty much all of those things. So I have many that look like this. It's upside down, isn't it? Yep. So these are nice little ways of sampling scents that you can just burn in a melter. And also keep a room thermometer down here because it is super important to know the temperature of the room. In the winter, summer, the temperatures are so drastically different that I have to completely adjust my pouring process depending on the temperature in the room. So every temperature makes a huge difference, whether it's the temperature of the room, the jar, the wax when you mix the fragrance oil in, it all matters and will completely change the outcome of the candle if one of those is off. So that's that whole process. And of course I have my chair over here, which is often where I sit and watch an excessive amount of TikTok videos while I wait for my wax to melt. That is kind of the longest process, but this is it. This is where I make all the candles. So now when you see a completed MXVII candle, you will know kind of what went on behind the scenes to make that happen. So hopefully that gives you kind of an idea of what goes on behind the scenes and how those candles are made.